say one thing, and it's not to defend, it's not in defense of parents, but it is defense of parents. The same way we all have our experiences, our parents have had experiences, and we don't know their stories. We don't know the traumas that they're walking around with that haunts them, that has actually resulted in how they relate to us or didn't relate to us. Because I can honestly say, this is something we talk about, I know with West Indian friends who've also shared this too, that it's hard for West Indian parents to tell their children that they love them.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to me.
It wasn't until, honestly, it wasn't until 2002 was the first time my father, that I can remember. Right. I'm sure he said it when I was a baby.
Right. But you don't remember it.
2002 that I can honestly remember is when, and it's because my sister, it was a result of my sister dying, that he told us he loved us. And he started saying it more after that. Like when we would speak, he'd hang up and he'd be like, I love you, stuff like that. And, but before that, he never said it. One thing I can say though, Shonda, because you said it, he would tell us that we was pretty. Y'all some pretty girls, but I think that, that's what you do when you got 4 damn girls running around the house. I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
Now go out there and shovel that snow.
So, cute self. Can I go get shovel with that? Your cute self.
But as far as to say, I love you.
Right.
That wasn't something that was normal.
Right.
Like now, like if I have a conversation with him after he might have repeated the same conversation like 10 different times, he'll say, I love you. But before that, then that was what, 2002? We're in 2020.
What was happening in 2002? The DJ Pool run and
we're
over here saying love you?
Right, we're in 2022 now. But I mean, I'm a 50-year-old woman. I have older sisters, and my father didn't communicate that to us that we can honestly sit down and say, well, damn, it took him to lose a kid. It took him to lose a kid to
I love you.
Verbalize it.
Right.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So let's pose a question when it comes to that. So Cho just said she did not hear I love you till kind of recently. Would you have wished it was like that, or for someone that heard I love you from Cleophas at a young age? I heard that from him, right? But would you have, I think I would have rather waited for him to say I love you, because I took the definition of love of what he was giving me. So it messed me up throughout my whole life, because I love you, but I'm going to treat you badly.
But then
if that makes sense.
But then here's
I would have actually wished that he did not say I love you.
Well,
because I wouldn't have tied that to the definition of what he was giving me.
Your treatment,
This is where it comes in, where you don't know what you don't know if you're not in it, because not hearing it, we honestly didn't think that my father wanted to be a father. We didn't think he wanted children. We didn't think that was his thing. We didn't think that he was happy. We thought that, having children was actually like a shift in what his life could have been, because there were things that he wanted to do, but he didn't choose.
And y'all threw a monkey wrench in his plan.
He didn't choose, right? He didn't go towards a career path that he initially wanted to, because he now had a family. So instead of going that route, he went this route, because this education would have been shorter school time, because he has a family, than this route. this road had more courses. This route had less courses. This route means I can feed my family and purchase a home. This route meant I'm gonna be in school. It's gonna be tough. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to make my family comfortable. So it was like, are we a burden? Is that why
he had to make sacrifices?
Right. So are we like, is it that we don't like hear it because he resents the fact that we exist? That's how we felt. So it's really one of those you don't know.
Right.
We can look at each other and be like, well, your dad
had this.
You. Right. That was good. My dad didn't. But so it
you know what? My grandfather, he wasn't, even my grandmother was not really lovey. He wasn't lovey-dovey at all.
Yeah,
but my grandfather, he would call us lover. Hey, lover. He, if you come in, hey, lover, it was always, he would say that we were his lover. So that, made me kind of, yeah, that's my papa, that's my papa, but then when he would get upset, but he actually stopped drinking after he had a stroke. And clearly I loved him. That was my granddad, as a father. And when he got sick, I was right there to take care of him until he went to hospice. And when they took him out of the house and sent him to hospice, the very next day, he was gone.
He was gone.
Because he was all about his family. He didn't it was always his family.
So since we are unpacking and sharing, I don't know if you guys notice, but I don't call Cleophas. I don't call
Josiah
him
Jones
anything.
Yeah.
I don't call him anything.
Hey,
just like, hey, yeah, just hey.
I don't, to me, he is he who shall not be named. Like, I don't have a name for
Eve
him.
or Ray or say Pops or Dad. I was telling them because Dad. No, you used to call him Daddy, but
I used to call him
Dad the other day.
I used to call him Daddy and stuff like that because I was so trained to do that. In my household, that was still your father.
Right.
When I usually call him by his name, when I say, "Oh, Cleophas" and stuff, and my aunt be like, "Who you talking about?" And I'm like, "Cleophas," and she was like, "You mean Dad? Your dad?" And I'm like, "No, I don't really.
No, I mean
Cleophas.
Think,
no,
I'm
no,
almost
I mean
30.
that.
I know the difference.
That's still your father. Why are you not doing right by him? You know better than that. Okay.
But
you just said something that was a trigger for me.
What?
Do right by. Now y'all know how I feel about. I think
these generational curses is real.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And I struggle with them. I have so many struggles with them because I think a lot of the things that we were trained are so
wrong, detrimental to our mental
they're hypocritical. I think that they've done more damage than good. And it's proven that it's done. I mean, the proof is there that it's done more damage than anything else. This I do believe in having respect, but I also believe in receiving respect as well.
Yes.
Amen.
And we have this thing where I'm your parent, you're supposed to take care of me, and you're supposed to do this, and it's like, right. However, you do know that if there was a scorecard on parenting, and it applies to me. So I'm not being a hypocrite about it.
Yeah, no.
Like, it applies to me. That's why I said, a lot of times we don't know our parents' stories. So, because I know that I can tell you all my story. I don't have a problem with sharing. Y'all get it. But I did what I was equipped to do the best way I can.
Right.
And that's, I think, is where we all struggle, and we all have relationships with our parents the way they are because of, it's getting to understand and it comes back to granting people grace because we don't know their stories. And you don't have to. You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to. And I am a true believer of, if it doesn't serve you, leave it right where it's at. Leave it right where it's at. But just, you can't hold on to it. Like, right. I have been letting go of so many things because it's like, I can't. I'm powerless over situations. I can't do anything about it. Especially at this stage, I know that I'm getting older, and the older I get, that means that they're getting older. And you can't change them. For your dad, he's in a situation now where he needs his children. He needs his children, and and a lot of time people expect their children to be there for them, and sometimes you really want to say, but where was you? And somebody will look you in your face and tell you, well, you're being disrespectful because that's still your parent.
I have to interject because I want to say that my mother has never spoke ill.
Ever.
I do not recall a time.
Ever. She never
has
put
said
anything in our head. Ever.
Never. Now my uncles, every now and again, I heard a little something, a little rumbling, but
yeah, but that was the only one that would say something.
But as a parent, because of the fact that I know that we have human flaws, to my oldest and to my youngest, if there's something that I that's why I thank God for the circle that I have, because I can talk to my girls, I can talk to my guys in the circle and get information or get advice. And if I can tell my son, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Sorry goes a long way.
I have to be, and every time I've done that, it has been waterworks. And my son is not a crier at all. My oldest, he's not a crier at all. But anytime that I've done that and I've acknowledged the fact that I've done something that I should not have done, it's a wrap. But my sister, the one in the blue Aliza Story shirt, told my father, you weren't around. You were not there. And he said, who told you that?
Ooh, right. Like how you?
I'm like, I was there.
How you telling me that my reality isn't my, like, dude? We talking about me.
Yes.
And he with a straight face.
And with a total straight face. But see, because
I'm in the corner for 25
you like
years.
that dementia kicking early, didn't it?
But because of the village that we had, every dance show, every program, it was my grandparents, aunts, uncles,
they was always
this one,
there.
that one. So I always couldn't tell you were there.
Yeah.
Because everybody else was.
So with that, to us as sisters and to our audience, what do you do when you are now in an adult stage of your life and you still have a parent that's living, and like you said, Cho, they need grace, but yet
But you also need to be honest.
Right.
So you didn't let me finish. because I believe in, I don't care at what age you are. I don't care what age you are. I believe that you have a right to let your parents know when they hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have been telling my parents from the time I could talk when they hurt my feelings. To this day, I let them know. I'm not giving you a pass because I'm a human with feelings. And just because you're my parent, it doesn't mean that you can handle me however you want to, and I'm supposed to take it.
No, well, the question that I have is how, because yes, say how you feel. Don't sugarcoat it. But if your parent can hear what you feel, hear how you feel, and see how you feel, but yet still repeat the same vicious cycles because they don't have the tools to change, how do you now interact with those parents that are like that?
You interact with them. You interact with them the best way that suits you.
Right.
So it means that you call them once
every year. Yep.
If that's what suits you and serves you, that's what you need to do for yourself. Because the only person that you're responsible for is yourself.
Amen.
You have to make yourself within comfortable with how you're going to feel with that situation. Right. So if you know that relationship is a toxic relationship, because your relationship with your parents can be a toxic relationship.
True.
Sure
if
can.
you know if that relationship is a toxic relationship, you remove yourself from the toxicity.
And that doesn't mean that you hate them.
It has nothing to do with
you wish them ill. It just means that you are protecting your own sanity.
You're protecting you.
I think the issue with Cleophas' plan is that because all of you are grown, and going back to what you were saying, Kaya, I think if he just says sorry, I had told your brother years ago, I said, if I was him, I would have took one day out the year for each kid, take them out to dinner, and tell them I am so sorry for what I did to you.
But that would mean that he would have to see his own faults. And
I've actually had that conversation with him. I recorded it. I asked him, did you say?
Right, and he did. But because if he does that, that means that he has to see and look
that he is not Zeus, the Greek god.
I swear that nigga would have 12 heart attacks.
In order for him to do that, do you realize that in order for him to do that, that means that he has to address.
Right. And he's
not his
own, and he can't.
But he has to address not what he did to you all.
Oh,
he has
to our mothers.
What was done to him.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And it is comfortable for people to sit in their discomfort because it becomes a safe space for them.
Right.
Because for you to rip off the wound or the scab and expose the wound.
I don't know if he could do that.
And not to give the audience too much detail of what's going on currently with you guys, I commend y'all because right now you're in a position where you have to help him. And there has not been any healing. There hasn't been no therapy. There hasn't been no conversations. There has been no sorry. So while everybody's wounded, it's like you're being in the war, right? You're in the war. You get shot up, but you're bleeding. You survived the war. You're shot up and you're bleeding. And now you're told that you got to go help the enemy clean up his mess while you're bleeding because of the enemy. So I commend all of y'all because it takes a big person to do that because that's not easy because the average person wouldn't do that. And the fact that
you ain't doing nothing for me, so
the fact that he's not humble to it. He's expecting you guys to do it. It's not even like, you know how like when somebody knows they don't deserve it and they're like, oh my God, you guys are so awesome.
Thank you so much.
They show humility.
I don't deserve it, but it's like, what y'all doing for me? Come on.
But Keish, where does that expectation come from? It comes from that old school way of how we were taught.
Right.
I'm the parent.
You're supposed to, I'm the parent and you're the child.
But you know what? I can honestly say, because of the stuff that we've endured, I see so many of us taking care of our kids. Like, there's not too many men that I know that have kids that don't deal with their kids. Mm-hmm. These men are at the kids' school almost every day. They picking them up. They're either in the house with the kid or they're literally right there every chance they get. Mm-hmm. Like, my Cleophas is like an enigma, or he's a unicorn right now. But when you do the math, you have whatever happened with him, and obviously his mom died young when he was young, and then you have him and his siblings and their children. So just for him, you have 12 offsprings that are now all wounded. And then those offsprings have offsprings, and they're wounded. And then those
their offspring have offspring.
Right.
And then the generational curse continues.
Yeah.
But
because
that's why
we're actually seeing it happen.
Right. And I think
in real time.
And because we are so aware that we are making sure it stops now.
Being intentional about our choices.
Right.
Yep. I ain't gonna be having, like, if my kids have issues with their kids, it's because of something new. It's not because of something that's old.
It ain't gonna be what I did.
It's gonna be because me, goddamn it.
But that's when you have to be aware of the cycle. Like, if you're not aware of the cycle that you're literally running in,
gonna keep on doing it.
After the 15th time around the same bend, you don't realize you're going the same route even every time, then you know what? But it's only when you are aware that this is a destructive cycle, and it could now lead to your offspring having daddy issues. Well, why didn't my daddy? Or how come my daddy?
Because and it's not just the Black culture. At one point, the culture of the fabric of America, which I should say, or not even just America, just in general. Years ago, secrets were secrets, or people would see you doing something and don't say nothing to you. Mm-hmm. So the generations before us didn't have someone to tap them on the shoulder and say, "Hey, buddy,
you're like,
you on these streets these days. Like, we see you having a bunch of kids. There was nobody saying nothing. People were in the corner chatting your business, but would never come to your face and say, "Hey, you don't look good. What's going on? I don't like how you having all these kids."
I think we're still guilty of it today.
But it's not as bad as it was before, because there's so many secrets.
I honestly, from how it was when I was growing up until now, obviously we always have work to do, but I really think that our level of communication, and I'm talking about our circle. Now, everybody ain't, on that level yet, and we still have work to do. But when you do something to piss us off, or you do something to piss me off, you gonna hear my mouth. I'm not sitting back and I'm gonna just be quiet about it. I'm be like, so can we have that conversation now? Because remember when you had said so and so and so?
Yeah.
So I think now we have, and I have that relationship now with mommy. If something happens, I can go and talk to her about how I feel. Whereas I didn't before. Yeah. Like, and I feel like I have the tools. Even when I talk to Cleophas, he'll tell me at the end of the call, love you, sweetie. Now, I know he may believe that in his mind at the time, but he has done nothing to show me that. But you know what? Like my brother says, I love you for the sake of Allah.
So So
don't talk about your brother like that.
I'm saying I love him for the sake of Allah.
So I just want to flip this for a second. And I want to give a shout out to his first 4 baby mamas and wives, because they were the 4 that made sure
we sat together,
that we stayed a family. If it was not for them, they put their feelings aside.
Even when they found out that he was playing all of them. He was just hopping hot potato from one to the back to this one. Oh, we're not together no more. Yes. Oh, I miss it.
So I just wanted to,
shout him out.
Just to say that, because not a lot of the baby mamas can put their feelings for him aside to make sure that the kids stay.
You're right.
A family.
I hate when I hear like when I don't want to say a baby mother, but
I know. I just say,
No. I'm just saying when a woman's
mother. Y'all know how I feel about that baby. Y'all know how I feel about that baby.
Sorry, child's mother.
Child's mother. When she hears she hears the next chick is pregnant by her father's child. Oh well, he ain't never seen his brother or sister. I ain't bringing my child around that next child. Like it makes me cringe, because I'm like, so now this kid won't ever get to experience his or her sibling because the mother is being ignorant and not allowing. And you know what? I want to give a shout out, because there's a lot of women out there. We were talking about this the other day. There's a lot of women out there who especially this happened in the olden days. A lot of mothers stayed in the relationships with their husbands, and it was a kid that was produced in the midst of their kid, and they stayed with their husband. So, and I found out, like, I have many friends that their grandfather had a kid on the side.
The question is to each one of you, well, to all of us, if you had the opportunity to say something to your dad, what would that be?
Oh,
now?
Yes. The woman that you are now, the woman that has experienced whatever she's experienced in life, and you had the opportunity to have a no holds barred, no judgment, no retaliation conversation, what would your question, or what would you say? What would that statement be?
I would probably say thank you for not being there at all, because I feel like I turned out a lot better.
There you
go. Without him, because he was not like the in and out. He was
he just wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and it's just me, I feel like I turned out better than if he had been the flip-flopper.
You know, this is really therapy for me, because up until your comment, I was gonna actually tell him, because, you know, I lost my father when I was 19, and our relationship was a little weird. So there was a big gap where I didn't see him for a while, but there was a lot of reasons why I didn't see him for a while. But up until your comment, I was gonna say to him, like, you know, had you been there the way you should have been, my mom wouldn't have had to work all these crazy shifts to put food on the table, and I would have had a family setting versus being sent to different babysitters in different people's homes, because my mom had to work all these 12-hour shifts. But when you said what you said, I actually agree with you, because he was an alcoholic. So I couldn't even imagine living in a house with an alcoholic who also had a problem with putting his hands on women too. So I would have witnessed him beating up my mother because of the alcohol. So I'm actually glad that I didn't live with
that
him.
he wasn't.
Yeah. So he did us a favor by, not being present. But the fact that, he quit his job, so he lived with his mother. He quit his job so he didn't have to pay child support, and his mother enabled him.
Cleophas did that too. When my mom tried to take him for us, he quit. Yeah.
And my dad was a construction worker. So how you quit a construction job? But that probably gave him more time to drink.
Yeah.
So
I would honestly say, if I was to voice anything that I wanted to voice to him, number one, I would say, I'm sorry that you couldn't fight the demons that you were facing. And number two, I forgive you, and I hope you get yourself right before you leave this world with God.
I agree.
Totally.
Because if I want to keep on growing and healing, I gotta let that, I learned from it, and I wouldn't be the good Christian woman that I am if because I can honestly say I've done so many things in my life and God has forgiven me with so many things. Why can I give? And I say I want to be more godly. Why can't I give the same grace that he gives me every single day? So that's what I would have to say.
Very adult of you.
Right? Come on, growth. Anyway,
come on, adulting.
No, that's actually it's more. It's not even about adulting. It's just like that's a good place to be at. Because it's for you. It's not even about him.
It's not for him.
You guys already answered the question, because I used to give my mom the Father's Day cards.
I think we did that a few times, but then I was just like, she was everything, but one thing she'll never be is a man. So she was just, yeah.
I was a little bitch because when my stepfather was in the house, I still gave her the card.
I was just like,
here you go.
Big.
No, not you. Yeah, Not you. More.
Yep.
I'm passing it to him, and here you go. Psych. But you had a card, didn't you, nigga?
You should have gave him the card, and when he opened it, it said "Gotcha."
Yeah.
Thought you had a daughter, didn't you? Thought you had a daughter.
You would have thought I was giving you a card.
The card said, "Get well soon."
That is not
soon. Why?
That is nice.
Gotcha.
Oh, there is nothing to speak about. Those conversations have already been had.
I know. Yeah, that's what.
Like, I've been there, done that.
I've had that. I've had a lot of those.
Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations too.
I've had.
I think my final conversation would be that Jesus had 12 disciples for a reason, and you were able to birth or conceive 12 children, but you could not find it within any part of yourself to take care of either one. Jesus taught his disciples to be fishers of men. You taught your children nothing, but how to be the antithesis of you. And because of the fact that you as a man were not the role model that you were supposed to be for your children, these sins are going to carry, you're going to have to carry them for the rest of your life and afterlife. Just don't think that you can be like this in life and then be like, all right, I'm dead, it's over. Start over. No, because your generation, your bloodline continues. So I really suggest you get it together, because we have to. And other than that, why did you not feel that you were able to father any of us? Like none of us were good enough, or none of us fit the bill for you to say, I'm going to sit, I'm going to be a dad, I'm going to be present, I'm going to come to plays, I'm going to teach them this, none of them? From however old you were to when you started having children to now? None?
I just see, I don't.
But I would also say, since I'm here with you, let's call so-and-so. Let's call, and I would encourage him to call his children one by one and have that conversation.
But I don't think, one thing you did say, and as you being one of his children, it's not about you. It has nothing.
No, I know it's not about me, but I can only speak from my experience. I don't like Shauna and I, we grew up in the same house.
It's not about,
I don't have Shauna's experience as she doesn't have mine.
It's not about any of his children not being good enough, not being
anything. I know it's all based on what he could not. Yeah, I know that.
And this is just solely for Cleophas. Do you guys generally think, or do you guys think that he generally knows how really hurt you guys are? Do you?
Yes.
Honestly, I think he does, because I read his journals, and in his journals, it was speaking about, how he did wrong, and how even though he did wrong and everything, in a way he's so thankful for all of us for doing right, like in those layman terms or whatever. He said he feels blessed that he has children like how we are.
Okay.
And it's no credit to him.
And it's no credit to him.
He gets no accolades.
It's however you want to you.
I said what I said.
I once asked him, when a person dies, in the obituary, it ends with he leaves or she leaves behind
to cherish
their memory.
You gotta find
and
word
I
other than cherish.
Asked him, what memories do we have of you? And he was silent.
Woo! That's why he cursed your ass out.
That's why he cursed me out, because
and that's exactly why he got
guns. He's like, come on.
Guns.
You're starting with.
So basically, our stories are not unique, unfortunately. So our Between Sisters audience, if you have a story that sounds similar to this, or if you have a pipeline to Iyanla, please.
Because they need it.
We could do a season. We could do an entire season
with just the Cleophas family.
Iyanla fix my life.
Iyanla is
Iyanla. Oh Lord.
No, she does.
Be like Iyanla. Oh Lord. It'll be a new series. Oh Lord. That's what it's
Iyanla, oh Lord.
Iyanla, oh Lord. Like, what did you put on the TV this time?
I'm just envisioning her with y'all.
Oh my gosh.
Beloved.
You're like, feel it.
Not on my watch. What is that sound? Give that some sound. Give sound. What is that?
All the
things.
Yes.
No. Repeat after me.
Yes.
I felt this way
because you. Yes.
I did what I did because I was hurt from my parents, who was hurt by their parents.
They didn't have the tools, beloved. You didn't have the tools.
But you know what? Honestly and truthfully, that's what it really boils down to.
He did not have the tools.
Mm-hmm.
What would we have done if Iyanla wasn't around? And we couldn't watch Fix My Life and see how you done helped all these other
I read
crazy
Iyanla
deranged families.
I read Iyanla every day.
I'm telling you.
Y'all know I read Iyanla every day.
So
she's a gift.
She's a gift. So like I said, if you have a pipeline to Iyanla, give us a ring-a-ding, okay?
Put it in the comment section.
Yes, put it in the comment section. Hit us up. But other than that, make sure you follow us on Instagram as well. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so that we can have more conversations. Like
subscribe at the bottom.
Subscribe, okay? To my co-hosts, Shola B, Keisha Keish, Shauna Dawn, Evie E. I'm Kaya. Have a good night. Peace.
Yeah.